Welcome back to the Team 7 podcast. My name is Logan. We have Asher and Zach here with us, and we also have a special guest. I'll let him introduce himself because he'll take the camera from here. Why don't you tell us who you are, man?
Hi, I'm the special guest. I'm honored to be an honorary member of Team 7.
What's your name?
which I am. Well, I'm getting to it. Gosh, we're talking about anime. Let me take my time.
Oh, that's a great joke. Heck of a preface. Go for it.
Thanks. Like I was saying, my name is Lance Asher, and I love Naruto. I have a shirt, I have a hat, and I am honestly, these episodes are the perfect time for me to jump in. So, one, thank you for having me, and two, I'm very excited to hear you guys talk about all of this.
Yeah.
So, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I can't wait to kick you off. So, we are episodes 46 through 52. This ends season 2 for us, and we'll be going into season 3 on the next episode, which is exciting. But 46 and 47 is the fight between Hinata and Neji. So we're going to start there. Really cool form of fighting. I think that we get some cool character development for Hinata besides just like, here you go, just Naruto, some ointment. Right, and then, putting her fingers together.
She's super shy. She's the OG of whatever you call this.
Yeah, right? I don't know if there's a name for that emoji, but we all know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's like an embarrassed shy.
Yeah. I loved this fight, by the way. I loved all the explanation here too. They're becoming two of my favorite characters based on like the fighting style alone. It's insane. I dig it.
Yeah.
Clarification: Are you saying Neji and Hinata or Hinata and Naruto?
Although a lot of my notes are Neji is a jerk. Neji's being a jerk. Neji jerking it out. No, I didn't actually put that. That's something different. But
I think he put Neji and Hinata is the answer to your question, Zach. Yes. I think he was talking about that. Yeah, I have the Hinata's dub voice just irks me. Like, I watched this batch. We had a week in between, so I watched this batch in dub first, actually, and then in sub. And I don't know. I never liked it. I didn't like her as a character as a child because of her voice. I thought it was too weird. I don't know.
That's a hot take, bro.
I watched. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, Zach.
Oh, you're good. I was just gonna say I would listen to her read audiobooks to me to go to bed.
100%.
Okay. Yeah. What were you gonna say?
This
Lance?
is Winnie the Pooh.
Dude, please make that happen.
Zach as Hinata reading a book. That's the next podcast.
I want that. Yeah, I need that one. I was just going to say, I watched like maybe 30 seconds of episode 46 in dub, and before I just absolutely could not handle it. Immediately switched it back to sub. I watched all of these episodes twice, but both times in sub. I can't even tolerate the dub whatsoever anymore. I just can't stand it.
So there's no nostalgia for you at all? Because Lance, we should say this. Lance and I both grew up watching Naruto as it was coming out, but with two significant differences. First, Lance was very open about it. He let everybody know he wanted to wear the headband to school. He didn't care. He was like, I like this and I admire it. I'm not getting on to you. I admire it.
I receive it.
Go into middle school and say in the late 2000s and say, I like anime. I like Naruto.
Dude, I would take do you remember how I would wear the headband? I would tie it.
You wear it as a belt.
Well, not all the way around my waist. I would like tie it in between like the two loops like to the right of center, if that makes sense. So I would tie it through so that the like faceplate was what was showing out. And we were in a private school where you had to tuck your shirt in. So like, I wasn't even doing anything close to trying to hide it. I was proud to wear it. I was a hidden leaf ninja as far as I was concerned. I was convinced that one day I could figure out how to use chakra. Like that's
no, tell them more than that. Tell them what you did about that.
Also, never stop dreaming, but please go on.
I mean, I was this close to actually believing I could. I couldn't have been closer to
That's
it.
not the story he told me. The story he told me, he sat in his room, sat down in the middle of his room with this motion and tried to build up chakra. And then tried to unleash a well, yeah. So
I'm not above trying. Above trying. Wait, but so can I explain my history with Naruto?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
So I started watching it when I was in 6th grade, and it was airing on Toonami at the time. I think that's what it was called, right? It was like Cartoon Network, but later at night.
No, actually, when it first came out, it was on Cartoon Network.
It was just on Cartoon Network straight up.
Yeah.
Well, then there you go. So I was watching it then, and this was in dub, so I watched up to what was out like currently on Cartoon Network, and then I realized that I could read the manga online. So I did that. I started from the beginning, and then eventually I got caught up to what was being released weekly in Japan in the manga, which was ahead of the anime. So then I went back, I started watching the anime in sub online, which is probably why I don't have as much nostalgia for the dub, because I started watching the sub pretty early. Like I was like finding ways to watch it on YouTube at the time, because this was like 2007. And so I watched all the way up to what was released on the anime too. And I got caught up around my freshman year of high school with both the manga and the anime. So then I watched both play out in real time from there on. So the manga ended in 2013. Is that true?
No.
14?
The manga ended in 2017.
No way. It was earlier than that. The anime ended in 2017.
That's maybe what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, it's interesting to me like how early the mangas can wrap up, and then there's still like anime being produced. It makes sense, obviously, but with Attack on Titan, another thing that we've all been watching and exploring, it's so hard for me not to just go read like what is the actual ending, because I've heard so much about it and people's takes on how they feel about the ending, and I'm kind of scared that it'll get spoiled. But that would be wild if Naruto ended like that early and then anime was still coming out. It's a long time, dog.
And it was pretty, I mean, in my opinion, it was pretty true to the story. Like the anime played out. I don't mean, Logan, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't actually remember any like major differences or any kind of continuity that was disrupted. I think they did a pretty good job of wrapping up both. If you're a fan of reading, then you'll love it. If you're a fan of watching it, then you'll love it too. But yeah, so that's it. I adore Naruto. I've never really gotten into any other animes like wholeheartedly the way that I love Naruto. I think it's one of my favorite stories that I've ever been told, and I am always happy to preach the gospel of Naruto.
So to answer the question, yeah, the manga did end in 2014. So I was definitely thinking of the anime. But either way, I have Lance to thank for getting me back into Naruto, because I had dropped off, and then whenever we went to college together, he got me into it, and then yeah. So,
and similar to what you guys are doing now, I was rewatching a lot of it with Logan. Eventually, I think we were both caught up.
Yeah, because we ended it together. I remember when, like, before the last chapter came out, I was sick, dude. Like, I did not want it to end. And by the time the last chapter was coming out, like basically everything was wrapped up. So it was weird. But anyways,
you and Aaron Porter were the two people I texted the day that the last chapter came out.
Amazing.
Dang. I'm assuming I will be inconsolable for like 2 days straight once we're done with Shippuden.
Yeah.
So it's a wild ride. It's a wild ride. I'm very excited for you.
Speaking of wild rides, let's talk about this fight between Rock Lee and Gaara. If we have anything else to say about the Neji Hinata fight, say it now.
I had a question. Could we go through just those 2 episodes like briefly? Because the main thing I was wondering is like why were they so confused about them being cousins versus like brother and sister? Is that is some weird communication thing that was going on?
I believe that like she was calling him the word for brother.
That's correct.
Oh,
That's
okay.
correct.
Okay.
And she continues to throughout the rest of those episodes.
So is she doing that, or do you know if she's doing that out of like a respectful thing? Because she is of like a higher family
Yeah, she's the
stature, so
main clan.
she's kind of making it like, hey, we're same. Like, I don't think I'm better than you. Where he
Yes.
might feel that way or something.
Correct.
Okay, cool.
But
and in the dub, she even calls him brother. She doesn't say anything else family related. She just straight up says brother.
Cuz, what up, Neji Cuz?
so
Neji, my cousin.
oh my gosh. So oh my gosh, what was I gonna say? Of course, here it is. I've had terrible memory today.
I love throwing you off a little bit here and there.
I have some notes from these 2 episodes if we want to just
Yeah.
do it real quick.
Yeah, I was just going to remark about the brother thing because I don't know much more than just the fact that she was saying the word for brother. I don't.
Yeah, I do think it's a term of endearment because she doesn't view him as beneath her, even though she could, given her birthright. Right. I think that's why she wants to make that clear to him, which he obviously does not care, because he thinks he deserves to be the pride and joy and attention of the clan, which he has sort of a fair point to an extent. It's complicated. I haven't gone back and watched this early in like a while, so some of my notes are like purely nostalgia based. Like the first thing I wrote down was, "Oh my gosh, they're so young," because Shippuden goes on for so long. Like you get used to the characters being a few years older, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, they're so young." Hinata is so compassionate. It makes me really happy. I can't believe they had her fight Neji this early on in the show. That's like something I just didn't really like think much about until going back to watch it. I'm like, geez, they really like, I mean, this was just brutal for her. Like so quickly in the show, she just gets wrecked. The opening, the opening for this season, the song, the theme song,
it's
is just
so good.
I immediately pulled out my guitar and played along immediately. And I mean, note for note, I could do it right now. It's spectacular. Fantastic song.
Yeah, it is.
I wrote down, I'm not going to lie, I do have a little bit less patience for the talking than I used to. I did. There was a couple of times during that fight particularly where I was just like, holy Lord, can we move this thing along? But I think that's completely due to the fact that I already know most of what happens. You know what I mean? So I'm like, all right, come on.
Yeah. Do you guys feel that way at all, Asher and Zach? Did you kind of get that?
I think because of my history with Trigun and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, I'm used to it. And any anime where that doesn't happen is like a real treat. But it's not like I'm upset by it or anything. I think Chainsaw Man does a really good job. Like, let's just move. And the flashback stuff doesn't take that long. Attack on Titan, I mentioned last week, I think. There's like whole episodes and stuff. But as long as it's not hitting DBZ level, we good. I'm fine with it.
Totally fair.
I'll say this. I mentioned it, I want to say a week or two ago, or an episode or two ago, that it drives me insane how slow they talk. Because I mentioned there was like 10 seconds between like an actual sentence, like in the middle of a sentence. And I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of new to anime. Obviously, we've kind of established that. But, you know, Pokemon is not like this. I've watched a lot of it. Binge watched all of Attack on Titan in a weekend.
It's wild, by the way.
And I don't think I could have done that if it was this slow. But
for what it's worth, I think that the show gets better about that. I think that's partially what's bugging me about it. Going back and watching this stuff is that later on in the show, the pacing of these conversations feels a lot better, or at least more important. I don't know if that's fair to say, but that's kind of how it feels.
I'd agree with that. I think that, I would even say later in Naruto. Not even it gets a lot better in Shippuden.
Yeah, agreed. My last note was that the scoring in Naruto is just absolutely perfect. And I made that note on every episode. Like every track at every moment is perfect. Just
Even the sound design of like the sound effects and
oh
stuff.
my gosh, dude, it's just amazing. I know we're about to get to it, but when Rock Lee takes off the ankle weights, it makes me want to run through a brick wall.
Well, we can
Yeah,
move on to
we
that.
can do it.
So that's the next episode. So in 48, my first note is Lee with like 10 E's after the first one. And
Reverse psychology.
I said that I've been waiting for this batch since we started, just because this is that first, like, maybe not the first, but it's one of the most memorable parts of OG Naruto. Of
This
him
is where
dropping
this is
the
where I was
weights.
hooked. This is where
Yeah.
I was hooked. This is
And
where I was
it's
for
that
sure
first,
in.
yeah, it's that first like anime reveal that they do that's so unexpected
And dramatic.
Yeah, and dramatic, but I absolutely love it. So I've been looking forward to this. I can't wait. We can just go straight to it. What were your all's reactions whenever and you don't if you didn't have a big one, that's fine, but what did you expect it or what?
I was kind of thinking, I mentioned this to Lance a couple weeks ago. We were talking on the phone. I can't remember if you confirmed or denied, but I was like, Rock Lee is going to fight Gaara, right? I don't remember what you said, but I just had that in my head. Like, out of everybody who's left, it kind of has to be the two of them. I just had like an inkling or something. To back up a little bit, in 48, the first note that I made is, who is this guy scrubbing blood with just a dry brush? I thought that was such a hilarious note to leave in there because he's there's not like soap, there's no water or anything. But I like any little comment about Gaara. I'm hanging on every word, whether it's like Konkuro or what is her name, Tamari. Anything that they're saying about him, I'm just like, okay, there's an inner demon introduced here. The fact that you mentioned a few episodes ago that it says love on his head, like, I'm so intrigued by this character. Confused is like half of it, but intrigued, like, I can't wait to see where he goes. But as far as the actual fight, it's badass. It's as badass as it's gotten, I think.
It's so good. It's so perfect. It's note for note, man.
Yeah.
Gosh.
One of my favorite things about Rock Lee is his like super dry comments that are like overly confident. Like whenever he finds out that he's going to fight Gaara, he says like, sooner or later, I knew we'd have to meet, and I am glad it's sooner.
That's so good.
Yeah, everything about Rock Lee, I've loved him from the moment he first spoke and intervened in some of the earlier scenes. But this was definitely very satisfying to see him fight and like learning his style and like the handicap that he has in the midst of like all these different. I would even call them like heroes in a way with all these different abilities and stuff. And he's just like, nope, I don't have that. I'm just gonna focus all of that on my taijutsu and just some ace.
It kind of sold me on Rock Lee. This is what I wish they would have done in Star Wars with who's Daisy Ridley? I can't remember her name.
Ray.
With Ray's character, like this is just a nobody who doesn't have bloodline trait like some of the others have, who is just like doing it, and then they did all that dumb shit with Palpatine or whatever. But we can talk about that later.
No, we should talk about it now. That's the most unforgivable line of any movie I've ever seen, where Oscar Isaac, an Academy Award-winning actor, delivers the line, quote, and somehow Palpatine came back and blah 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 blah. Huh?
Chewbacca.
You're going to invalidate the entire literal trilogy before you with a line that says, and somehow Palpatine came back? You won't even tell me how? It's disrespectful.
No,
Absolutely.
No.
It's lazy and horrific. I can't believe it happened.
It's a good word for it.
Anyways, I did make
Rock
another
Lee.
note in this episode about the music being perfect. The freaking like little rock and roll song that kicks in when they're fighting. The Dude, it just gets me. I mean, I just want to go straight back to high school when I was playing soccer and like, warming up to get my butt kicked.
Yeah, the hits and everything. It's a well composed little song. I could hear
the first kick that Rock Lee finally lands against Gaara, where he draws blood across his cheek, dude. I mean, I stood up. I was like, this is the greatest. It's one of my favorite moments of the entire series, dude. I love that Rock Lee's the first one to draw blood on Gaara.
Can I say real quick that the one saving grace of all the explanation for this stuff is Naruto's face anytime somebody's like starting to explain something. He's like, huh? And then he like does that, like bird lip, and his nose is just like, I love it. It makes me laugh so hard every time.
Oh my God.
Anyway, the actual fight. I'm distracting us, but yeah, it definitely endeared Rock Lee to me. Finally, I can put up with all of his and Guy Sensei's just, I'll throw the word back out there, unforgivable BS stuff that they say is horrible. I hate listening to it, but it's also just, it's a beautiful relationship between those two. And I mean, you said handicap, Zach, like that really sums up not being able to use like two of the biggest styles of fighting in this entire show so far. It's crazy.
Yeah. This fight's incredible. I mean, I think we've all said that so far and agree, but the training that he does and not able to do any genjutsu or ninjutsu. Sorry, I'm like blanking on everything right now. It does confuse me a little bit, and maybe Lance would actually even know this, because he does have this inner gates stuff.
Yeah,
but it's not a jutsu, but it is like I don't know what's happening.
It seems like
I know
it should
that ultimate.
be, right?
I do know what's happening. I know he's opening chakra gates, and that's how it's like
it
is that a jutsu?
It is a jutsu, but it's still considered a taijutsu.
Because it's all
open those gates.
All he's doing is opening thresholds of his own chakra. Like he still has control enough to do that, which they explain in the episode 48 is like extremely difficult to do because of the pain and stress it puts on your body.
Right.
But ultimately it's still considered a taijutsu. I think Guy says that. I think he refers to it as like the ultimate taijutsu or something like that. In episode 48. Or maybe that's when he's talking about the Hidden Lotus specifically.
And Hidden Lotus is gate 1 though.
Hidden Lotus is gate 1 or above, yeah. So you'd have to open at least one or more of the gates to do it anyway. So I don't know if you can conflate the two, but it's not ninjutsu because you're not converting chakra into something else. Which,
gotcha.
As far as I can tell, is the only way you could describe ninjutsu.
Okay, makes sense. Zach?
Yeah, I think Guy mentioned that when he was explaining the gates, because I don't remember the quote exactly, but I want to say he was saying like anyone is able to do that with enough like determination. It's the other stuff that you kind of have to be gifted at doing, and it just kind of has to come to you because of your blood or whatever.
Right.
You all don't have to answer this right now necessarily, but do we get any more backstory of like Lee growing up at all? Like I'm so here for that story.
I just want to see more of that little ponytail, bro.
Yeah. Man, he started with a great look, and I will say his look just declined and declined. The longer he spent time with Guy Sensei, it got worse and worse. So maybe he'll recapture the power of youth. Right?
It doesn't get better.
Okay.
It's not a spoiler. It just doesn't get better. Oh shoot! I was about to say something. What were you?
You're about to ask, or you're about to answer.
Oh, I was gonna say I want to say that there is some filler backstory at some point.
Okay,
but I don't think it's like canonical. So
gotcha.
Sorry, I don't. It is canonical. I don't mean that it's part of the. I mean it's not part of the major storyline. So up to you.
There's a big theme in this fight over these 2 episodes that maybe you guys caught on to as well, but it just made me respect Kakashi so much more for, like, his wisdom and, like, Guy obviously, wanted Rock to, succeed and win the fight, but Kakashi is, like, more he's, like, honestly, like, a good parent. Like, he's, like, safely letting his team take risks, but also, like, guiding them through the process, but he's, like, straight up like, "Guy, what are you doing? This isn't smart," you know? And even afterwards when Naruto's just in disbelief, Kakashi's, like, there to Kakashi's there to, like, you know, explain to Naruto why he needs to act the way he needs to act, and it just made me just my heart grew so much more for Kakashi.
He's
Yeah.
great. I feel like I had more notes about Kakashi throughout this, but I guess not. I definitely think about him all the time, and he's just sitting here on my microphone. But I think it kind of shows that Guy Sensei is like a little reckless for how much of a dad he kind of felt like up to this point. But at the same time, I'm kind of if I'm in Guy Sensei's shoes, and it's like, dude, I've got this kid Rock Lee who is just not giving up on his training, but he can only do this kind of jutsu. Like, may as well push him as far as he can go because he'll probably regret it if he doesn't push himself that far. So I feel that a
Yeah,
little bit.
that was one of my favorite things about the fight is that Lee doesn't win
Yeah, I agree.
Wolf.
because that I know it just
True to
hurts so
life.
much more. Exactly, it is like you just want to root for him, and then oh my gosh, he just does everything but win right until the very end, and it's so crushing. But
Yeah.
I do think that it sets both characters up super well for where they go.
Man, there's not a single. Speaking of that, like setting up characters, there's not a single one that I'm not interested to see what happens. So if that was their goal up to this point, they've nailed it. I want to see what kind of barbecue Choji eats. What's his favorite? Man, that fight was tragic. That's later, right? Like is that after this one? Or did that
What?
happen before?
It happened after.
It did
Yeah,
happen
it
after.
happens
Okay.
after.
What a strange
One of
order to things. Sorry, Zach, go ahead.
one of my favorite Choji moments in these episodes was when Gara and Rock Lee are decided on being the next fight. He's like, "Safe again!"
He gets smacked on the head.
Right. But
I love
one of
that.
my questions, speaking of Rock Lee losing, one of my questions, and I know this is probably just the impatience in me. So, does that mean that they fail the Chunin exams and they're gonna have to take them again if they want to be Chunin?
Anybody that lost in this preliminary round or before cannot become a Chunin.
Correct.
But in the third, Hokage explains this in the next episode in 51. Anyone, all, and no one are possible answers for the final round. Like that last little bracket, how he was explaining that like you could lose your first round match and still become a Chunin. But that also means that everyone could become a Chunin. Also, no one could become a Chunin. It just is a tournament to display your skills. And the more matches you win, you get more chances to display that and higher chance of becoming a Chunin.
And they do a good job of keeping that mystery alive. I will say. That's not a spoiler. I'm just hopefully that makes you more excited for it.
Oh, I'm excited. I couldn't be more excited. So that's just keeping me up at the threshold, Lance. Thank you.
You're welcome. I am to please.
I will say as well, I'm excited to see more of Gara's demon because we didn't really get to see it. And it just feels like this ominous character that's like being saved for a greater moment. And I'm excited to see where that goes.
Dude, so Zach,
Yes.
you and I are in the unique position to speculate. And what I've speculated about this is that it's a question. What if it's something like the nine-tailed fox from whatever village. They came from the Sand Village, so it's a completely different area. So there's got to be some kind of history of like other places in the world that we just don't know about. Maybe they don't know about the nine-tailed fox. Maybe they do. Maybe that news travels fast or whatever. But I just wonder if it's going to unlock something. And does he use it for good? And what I'm afraid of is that he just uses it to murder people because he's terrifying still.
I mean, I
We
feel like that's
will
good
find
speculation.
out. Yeah. Well, regardless of if it's true or not, it's good speculation. It's thought out.
Oh, okay. Okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Because I mean, they treated Naruto like he had a demon in his own village. You know, they acted like he was
Yeah.
like dangerous almost, and we still haven't seen a ton of that. So yeah, I'm excited to see more of these, you know, hidden bigger powers than what we've seen so far.
Plus,
That's
plus, I've been right before about Kabuto, that bitch.
That's basically the show, Zach. It's like hidden power that's revealed, and then you're like, oh, that's the coolest thing I've seen. And then it goes to the next hidden power that's revealed, and you're like, oh, that was the coolest thing I've seen. And then you do that for 700 episodes, and then at the end you say, I want to do that again. And then you start a loop, and you're stuck for forever.
Is that
It's
about
like-
Kabuto specifically?
No, that's about what you were saying with the like. Never mind.
That's what the show does.
Like
Yeah.
seeing someone's hidden power.
Not Kabuto specifically. That's what the show does.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Kabuto is rightly named because he's very similar to the Pokemon Kabuto. They're pointless and they frustrate the hell out of me.
Beautifully spoken.
One of the notes that I made for episode 51 was I forgot how much of the early part of this show has like an espionage vibe to it. I don't know if you guys feel that way. I was getting those vibes immediately.
Explain that.
Are you talking
Like-
about the conversation between Orochimaru and Kabuto?
Yeah, and then Kabuto's meeting with Kakashi in the hospital where he, like the whole thing has this like secret double agent like thing going on with it. And like this, I just forgot how much of that exists in the early part of the show, which I think is super fun.
Yeah.
And I think the third round of the Chunin exams is, I mean, I was already hooked after Rock Lee and Gaara, but it really does a great job of expounding on all of it. So, but I do love how much of it has how much of that like secret, there's something going on, but you don't know what it is kind of thing happening. And like, you can't tell who's exactly on whose team and then who's exactly how strong. Like Kabuto is supposed to be how old? Like there's just all these like questions and I wish so badly I could watch this again for the first time, but I love it so much.
Dude, that's still my question about Kabuto. Like he looks 38. I would guess 38 if I saw him walking down the street. He's got gray hair. He looks young, but he's got gray hair, so that just tells me late 30s. But
Yeah,
he's apparently
Characters
16.
just have gray hair in this show. That's just sort of a thing.
Yeah, true.
As far as I remember, I want to say that Kabuto is actually a little bit older than them, even though he's still a Genin.
Logan's
We
mentioned
did the
that,
math.
yeah.
I think that
Isn't he supposed to be a few years older?
I think
for some
he's
reason?
around I think we did the math and it came out somewhere around 16, right?
Yeah.
I think he's like as old as they are in Shippuden, but now.
Yeah.
Or something
Well,
like that.
I was trying to hold that information from them, but
What?
there you go. Just how old they are.
Oh, frick. My bad.
It's fine. No, it's fine. So
What, they're 13?
Yeah, they're 13.
I zoned
They-
out, so I didn't even hear him.
Okay. I do also want to bring up Gaara hearing Rock Lee's hearing Guy Sensei's like love for Rock Lee and being like, why did you do that? And he's like, because I love him. And Rock Lee's like, and then Gaara's like, I quit and just walks away. I don't know. I guess I completely threw him. Didn't understand it at all, but I did like that moment.
Definitely
and
like
then
more.
Gaara still wins on a technicality.
Yeah, which was, I don't know. That whole ending was a little confusing to me. I had to go back and kind of see what was happening. But I guess I see the history with Gara. I want to go back to and see some of their training and stuff because they're what are the instructors called? Just their sensei, like Kakashi sensei. But what is the name of their guy? Do we know Gara, Tamari, and Konkuro?
I don't think the show
His
has
name-
told
It
us.
hasn't told
Oh,
us yet. Okay,
then,
but
then I won't say it.
that person seems like a fairly normal person who maybe just got stuck with Gara and is like, well, I've got to deal with this crazy kid now. That's
Yeah.
just the vibe I get. But that's again, that's part of the intrigue around him. That's what I really want to explore. Sooner
I can
rather
tell you,
than
you'll
later.
get
Okay.
as with every character,
No spoiler.
everybody gets their moment. So you just hang on. It'll come.
It's
So-
kind of like Lost.
God, get out. Can you leave now? Can we talk about the worst show ever created?
If we're doing Lost, I want to be John Locke.
All right, have fun in purgatory, you ding dong.
I'm gonna be Kate so I can mouth breathe.
Stop it, all of you. I will not tolerate
Love
this.
mouth breathing. That's the most attractive thing in another person that I can think of. Just mouth breathing.
As opposed to like gills.
As opposed
Yeah.
to your nose.
All right, so 51.
Oh.
So we started with Choji getting absolutely decimated in no time. He's out. And then we get the like little espionage scene. Well, maybe not the one Lance was talking about, but this conversation between Kabuto and Orochimaru, which is interesting because there's some implications there that well, I mean,
Fascinating.
Orochimaru just straight up says, like, if you want to kill me, it needs to be Sasuke, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to kill him, is if you kill Sasuke. So what's Kabuto going to do? Who knows? Because he works for Orochimaru, but
He does
I
seem
don't
to
know.
have his own agenda somehow, or he seems smarter
Yeah.
than what I might have thought before, as far as like playing all sides of whatever the hell is going on with all this stuff.
mhm. Yeah, so I don't know. I can't stand him, but I also know because I know what's coming, I don't want to say too much, but him right now in these episodes, I absolutely despise when he's on screen. But I say that, and I really do like Orochimaru. I don't know why, but and they're in league together, but can't stand him. Really
Yeah.
like Orochimaru.
Orochimaru is an excellent character.
Yeah, and he's got a great dub and sub voice.
That's
In
true.
my opinion.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Oh, Lance, I don't know if you are caught up on the episodes or if you listened or watched to the one we did last, but the Orochimaru theme, I wanted to geek out on the music with you a little bit because there are so
Yeah.
many major chords in that song, and yet it's the most sinister thing I've ever heard. And it's like, I mentioned to them a couple weeks ago, like it's using something that's normally good and happy and bright and making it like, ooh.
Dude,
You feel that tongue in your ear.
and
I don't
I
like
mean,
it.
it's yet again the music in this show. I can't. It's just one of the best things about it. Every character's theme is so great. All the action scenes, the freaking sad piano song is so good. It's amazing.
With
But
the
yes,
flute,
that
like the flashback piano song
yeah,
with the flute.
yeah.
Yeah.
it's
a good
it's
one.
so. Gosh, it's so sad. Anytime you're sad, you just go listen to that on Spotify and jeez.
And Logan, I agree with you. I think Orochimaru or Ochimaru is a great character, but putting Zach on blast. But it's a great character, but I don't like him. He or they make me so uncomfortable.
Yeah, I get that. And I think that that's one of the reasons why I like them so much, is because they're so just
Sexy.
uncomfortable. Yeah.
Oh, right.
So Lance and I earlier were talking about this scene between Kabuto and Kakashi, still episode 51. and it's a little confusing on what is happening here because Kabuto has obviously come to kill Sasuke, so he was going to go for it, try to take away who Orochimaru was going to use for whatever he was planning on using Sasuke for. But then they get in a fight, Kabuto and Kakashi, and then he pins Kabuto, and then an Anbu body gets up, or an Anbu body comes, like, there's two Anbu bodies somehow. One goes for the door, but Kakashi has a clone there, and then another one gets up and breaks the window and jumps out, and then face reveal Kabuto. What happened? They explain it, he explains it pretty quickly, Kakashi does, but it's still, I mean, it's tough to follow, and
we had
really
to like
creepy.
rewatch it and dissect it to like make sure we understood what was happening anyways. So
yeah, so we believe that it is Kabuto has a clone, or sorry, not a clone. He has like used a jutsu to change someone's body to look like his. So presumably a Anbu Black Ops member that he had just killed to change into what we see Kakashi encounter with. And all the while he's laying there, Saw 1 style.
I was
Kabuto
about to say the same thing.
Yeah.
Spoilers for Saw 1 from 2004.
Yeah, for sure. You've had your chance. So he's laying there disguised as an Anbu Black Ops body, but tries to get another clone to go out or something. I'm not sure how that happens, how he predicted Kakashi. I say all this to say this is my interpretation of this, Lance's interpretation.
It wasn't he didn't predict Kakashi. I think there's a line that explains that he set that up as an escape method just in case. I think that's actually what Kakashi says when he's explaining the jutsu.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he did this to prepare an escape. So
right.
It wasn't Kakashi specifically. I think it was just
right. I mean, just anyone. But I mean, how did he? Like, there was a clone that went for the door before he busts out the window, and the one that busts out the window is Kabuto. Actual Kabuto. So why send the clone for the door? You see what I mean?
I think it would be fair to assume that either he had prepared 2 bodies that looked exactly like him and was willing to sacrifice one knowing he could still get out, or the one that ran for the door is just actually Anbu, but he was working for Kabuto instead of Kakashi.
Okay, I have a question about the Anbu in this too. Like, are they working for Kabuto? That thought actually hadn't crossed my mind yet, that some of them could be corrupt. Or
you can think about the Anbu like Secret Service.
Okay.
And because Kakashi is a Jonin and he has a high level of influence, then he would have the authority to go and secure Anbu for whatever he would need.
Wait, so
it'd be like going to the president and saying, I need protection for this thing, and then having it.
Is it possible, though, that he's powerful enough to have actually killed a couple of them?
Who is he when you say
Kabuto?
Kabuto. That's that.
Yes,
and again, just me
speculating. That is what you are led to believe by that episode.
See, that's what I was thinking. And then I was like, holy crap.
I can confirm that is what actually happened.
Kabuto.
Like, so he took down all 4.
Yes.
And then he taunts Kakashi and says, next time you'll need to send 10.
Yeah. Which it's hard to categorize that like level of threat.
Yeah.
But like that's a big deal. Like
it's a huge deal to be able to take down 4
or 4.
Yeah. I think 3 or whatever. Still, I think it might have been 3. But still very impressive.
And to take them down without Kakashi like really suspecting it until the time, right?
Mm.
And I guess, I mean, I was thinking about that too. I guess Kakashi would be fairly preoccupied with the exams and probably Sasuke as well, but still to get one over on him, I was like, dang, it's a lot.
Mm. Yeah. So we get the explanation for the for how the final rounds are going to work, and that's actually what we'll be watching next, I believe. There might be a few episodes in between. I just don't know if we'll get to it in the next batch or not.
But, are we skipping anything that's like filler during this? I'm gonna be honest. The Ebisu episode felt filler-ish,
No way,
just a
dude.
little bit. I loved it, but I was also, I don't know. It was cool. I really, really liked it, but I was also like, is there filler coming up from here? Do we know what Sasuke and Sakura are doing?
The only reason I say that it doesn't feel like filler is because we are introduced to 2 new characters at the end.
That is true.
So there are a lot of episodes that are technically canon mixed. So it'll be mixed canon and filler between the manga and just like what they do in the anime. And they'll add in something from the manga like at the end of the episode, or it'll have it like somewhere in it a little bit. And then because I want us to get all the context, I'll have us watch that. So
Okay.
most of that episode is, from what I remember, Lance may know, but from what I remember, most of that episode is filler. It's interesting though. But we do still get introduced to Jiraiya that way.
The reason I
But
liked
it's in
it.
a
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it was in a post-credit scene, which I wasn't the only reason I stayed around is because it was the new outro, and I wanted to watch the outro just to appreciate the art and the song. But, like, typically, I just skip and go to the next one. But there's not a ton of post-credit scenes, are there? Am I missing out on a lot of extra scenes?
No, I don't think so. Not even.
Okay.
I'm not even sure that I've ever noticed a post credits.
Now, are you talking about
Maybe I've never seen it.
Are you talking about the closet perv or the shameless perv? That's what the
Oh, they was not named yet. Sorry, the shameless perv.
I didn't remember what you said, so it's not a big deal to me. But
Oh, they don't say his name.
it's just
They do, because I wrote down the note, and I
Oh,
didn't
okay.
look it up. But I saw the
I missed
so
it.
there's obviously a giant toad that he's riding.
Yeah.
They didn't name it, and I wanna buy some merch, but I haven't looked it up because I didn't want any spoilers of what that
Okay.
Oh,
Don't look it up because it
I'm
would
not.
be spoilery, but you will find out the toad's name. So
Dude,
you
it gives
can
me
see-
Binya Binya Pollywog vibes. Gullah
You can-
Gullah Island, if you will.
dude, Gullah Gullah, bring me back.
So
It's before my time.
True.
So they do say Jiraiya's name in there, and also I went and looked. I couldn't find a post credit scene.
I think that's how it was for mine as well, because it
Weird.
was
Maybe it was in dub that it was post credit.
Maybe.
Because I have notes for well, maybe not. I got the chakra control training is what Ibisu is teaching Naruto.
Yep.
And then I wrote giant frog. And then I wrote new outro, Rock Lee and bandages, haha. And then I wrote Jiraiya, but who is the frog? But they say, or I also had on subtitles with the dub, and I saw Jiraiya. That's how I knew how to spell it. But I did not look anything up specifically because
was it maybe like him
if I was going to look
talking?
anything up,
And then
maybe
it
that's
said,
what it
like,
was.
a colon next
Was
to it.
when Jiraiya like introduces himself or says whatever he does in that
Yeah.
salute, it said
Mm.
Jiraiya and then colon. So Jiraiya was the one speaking,
That makes sense.
Interesting.
but I don't think he says his name. So
Well,
yeah, I get.
that's his name.
Don't wear it out.
Don't wear it out. Amazing. Yeah. So I think that kind of brings us to the end of our batch, which is
Can I ask Zach just a quick question?
Yeah.
What did you think of the Konohamaru moments in 51 and 52? Big fan?
It wasn't as bad as previous episodes, but yeah, I mean, I feel like he's kind of growing up in a way.
I like that it
But-
was some world building moments, and
Yeah.
even the training with Ebisu was like, I was like, who is this guy? Like, why did Kakashi go and seek this person out? And it felt to me like something that wouldn't have been answered. But then it was like, well, he trains like elite ninja. And I like
Yeah.
that was explained, and it was like, oh, there's so much more going on in this world, and I like that they're kind of sprinkling those moments in. The other thing, just real quick, I don't know if this will be meaningful to you all at all, but I was thinking throughout the Chunin exams, they flash back to the kids in a classroom, and they're learning from who was the first sensei that they had?
Aruka.
Yeah, Aruka sensei.
Aruka sensei.
And there's just a bunch of other like kids in there, and it's like, well, they're not in the Chunin exams, so maybe they didn't pass or whatever, and they work at a grocery store somewhere. So there's like other parts of this world. I don't know why. It felt really comforting to me that there's like a whole world around this, and it's not just these people and whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, and we'll get to this, but the world is ninja are the minority here.
Right.
So we live in the world of Naruto where that's like all we see. So it makes complete sense.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll get more of that later. So we finished season 2 now. If we don't have any more notes, because I'm about to move on to the next part.
I just wanted to really appreciate the outro scene where Rock Lee's in bandages, walking in crutches.
I'm gonna go look because I don't remember that.
Because it's like a little chibi versions of all of them, and they're walking through.
Yes.
And then Rock Lee comes in and he's just bandaged up, bro. I'm like,
love it.
My man is in healing.
So, we finished season 2. We did this at the end of season 1, but obviously we've had a ton of character development for a lot of characters that we've never met before this season. And Lance gets to answer this question now too. Who is your favorite character so far?
Oh man, that is
a lot easier to answer after just season 1.
Yeah, very true. Zabuza, of course. I'm just kidding. Dude, that's a hard one. Do you all have any thoughts? I'm having a hard time thinking through my thoughts, but yeah, go for it, Lance.
I can rank my top 3 in order of favorite to least favorite. Well, but least favorite being still my 3rd favorite.
Go ahead.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
I would say number 1, Kakashi. Number 2, Naruto. And number 3, Shikamaru.
Okay.
Always been a big fan.
I'm gonna kind of echo Lance, but change it up. I'm gonna say Kakashi has grown to be number 1 for me. Naruto is also number 2 for me. But number 3 is Rock Lee for sure.
I love that.
Every time he's on screen, I appreciate every piece of that character.
I love that. Asher?
Still Kakashi at the top. Sakura's second. I want to say Gaara. I can't think of anyone else that I'm just more interested in than Gaara.
That's a spectacular list. I love it.
Those are, I mean, the 3 that I enjoyed watching the most in this most recent batch, probably all of season 2, really.
Totally fair.
And the ones that I'm most excited to see, like, what happens.
Logan, do you have a list?
Could you, hey, Logan, could you tell us what your list is?
Would you care to share?
So, I think Sasuke is my number 1 for sure.
No doubt.
I really like Sasuke.
These other 2 are losing it while you're thinking. I don't know what's
I'm just
happening
ignoring them and thinking through it.
Screens are so small on mine.
I'm so bad at choosing favorites, but I think
to be fair, you don't have to make a list if you don't want to. You can just say Sasuke.
Yeah, just say Sasuke. Get
That's
it.
a fair
Well,
answer.
I want to give honorable mentions in no particular order.
Can I
There we
guess?
So
Orochimaru.
Sasuke for sure, Orochimaru,
I knew it.
Shino, and I mean I love Kakashi, but like,
Did you say Shino?
yeah, Shino, dude.
Wait, Shino the Bugs?
Yes, I think that his character design and powers are so underrated. Like they're so interesting and cool. But
I love it.
yeah.
They're
And
unique, but I hate it.
I'm not saying he's one of my favorite characters, but like I don't want to not mention him because like I just think he's super intriguing.
He does make it further than you think. So
Yeah.
Don't be spoiling
I like
it,
that
bro.
as I like
no.
that
I'm
as a
sorry. I
light
mean,
spoiler.
oh gosh, I'm sorry. I hit my mic.
I thought
I'm
he was
saying-
gonna die next episode.
Yeah,
homie.
I'm saying
same.
up-
I thought
I'm
the
saying
bugs were
up
going
to
to
what
carry him
you've-
away.
Jeez Louise. Up to what you've already seen, he's made it further than you'd expect, is what I meant.
Oh, okay.
Of
Okay.
course.
I like I wouldn't have expected the bug guy to, make it out of the second round. But
What does
here we
Lee
are.
call
Yeah.
him? Is it a bug master or a bug
Tamer.
tamer?
Maybe?
Ugh.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Is it true that he is actually just being carried by bug? He doesn't actually walk. It's just bugs like carrying him around everywhere. I'm just kidding. It's so stupid.
Good. That's a good theory.
His character design makes me think of the dad from Invader Zim. I don't know if you guys have ever watched that or saw it, but that's the only thing I think of.
so
him.
amazing.
I
I'm
don't
like,
know.
oh, this is the
but-
dad's origin story. I see.
weird.
So next episode we will be in season 3. We're gonna have a new intro, which is exciting. We've already had the new outro. We saw that at the end of season 2. So we're gonna be watching next batch is episode 53 through 59. So we're gonna be in this little, transitional area because we've just come off this big arc of the second stage. So the next batch is more world building and it's fun episodes, but yeah, so look forward to it.
Can Zach and I make predictions and you all don't give us any spoilers? Like Zach, I don't know what happens from
Please.
here. I'm kind of
Please.
thinking that they go on missions, probably more missions of some sort. Or are the Chunin, are you all allowed to tell us, like, are the Chunin exams like over after these battles, or is there more to that?
These are the final rounds. It's
Okay.
the third stage. Yeah.
That's my guess. It's a pretty broad thing, but I just think that they're going to do some more missions for more experience, and that's sort of what
Well, we
they
do
from
have
here.
we have a month from season or where we just left off in season 2 to the beginning of the final rounds. So
Oh, that's right.
yeah.
It's a
I
month of
forgot
time
about
in the
final
show,
rounds. Okay.
Yeah, a month of time in the show.
not necessarily real time.
Maybe I
This
changed
is my prediction.
Yeah, go.
Oh, sorry, you were about to say yours.
I was going to say maybe it's just training then, is my secondary prediction. But maybe missions is part of that. Sorry, go ahead.
So I think with the momentum of where they're at in the exams, they are telling them, hey, for the next round, you need to train up as hard as you can, get super prepared for the next challenge, just to, I don't know, get them to train. And then we're going to go to a secret society dinner, and they're going to be on pedestals and bidded over.
What a take.
Whoa.
I have never ever heard such an ambitious take.
I've never heard the word bidded before. I think you meant bid.
No, it's bidded, bro.
That's when a snake will get you. Orochimaru
Asher-
will bite you. He bidded you.
Asher, mute Lance.
All right, see you later.
If you were watching, I wish Zach would make some noise so that the camera would go to him.
He's losing it.
If you're
over there.
watching this YouTube video instead of just listening to the audio, man, you're missing out. You should watch. Anyways, do you guys have any other notes? Anything that you wanted to talk about?
Could you just show your sexy jutsu?
My shirt.
Yeah.
I wore this on the first episode,
No way.
and it says transformation sexy jutsu down at the bottom.
Where'd you get
It's
that at?
Naruto. It was a gift, but I know where it came from. It came from Box Lunch.
Nice. Yeah, back to my take though. I mean, I don't know. You never know with this show. I've been told things that I'm laughing because Lance is laughing, but
This
Bitted,
is
that was one that came out of nowhere. But yeah, I don't know. We got all the elite top leaders of each of the villages. I just feel like, they come in and they're like, I get the report on each of these contestants, and I'm gonna make my bid for who I want.
I hope we have a future with Anko. Ready for another nosebleed.
Anko
Bazinga.
is not.
It get real heavy.
All right, we need to just
what?
close
She's
this
not,
out.
No, she's not what? Just say it.
She's not.
She's cool.
She's just not really relevant.
Like she's in my mind.
She's
Now I feel
barely
like-
been in it. No. I'm not talking about whole show.
Okay,
I'm talking
up to this point.
Up to this point, she's barely been in it, and Asher has. I'm surprised she's not on your list.
Well, she's probably fourth if I had a fourth to give, but I don't. I just have 3.
But how much power you grant her with the amount of screen time she's actually got, she should be first.
Here's the thing.
Percentage-wise.
She was one of Orochimaru's trainees, right? So she's got to be pretty important too. Beyond
Maybe.
my certain infatuation. Anyway, so we can wrap it up here. Everyone's a substitution jutsu. Nothing is real. And season 3, here we come.
Yeah, season 3 is great. We continue to ramp up, and we see a lot of cool stuff. We flew through the first 2 seasons a lot faster than I thought we would. So I'm looking forward to getting through, because it looks like it is 23 episodes. So
Nice.
not bad. Everybody that's listening or watching, clap in your car or wherever you're, listening to this or watching this, and tell Lance thanks for being here.
And take your next left.
If you don't mind to just leave us a review.
Oh God. I hate it.
Subscribe to our YouTube.
Hey, wait, can I say it? I'll say it. Leave the Team 7 podcast a 5-star review. It helps out your boys. Thank you guys for having me. This really was a lot of fun. I really did have a great time. I love this show so much. I love these episodes. I would love to pop back in anytime you'd be willing to have me. And the next time that Gara pops up on screen, I'd love to be back in the room. I think your predictions for where we're going are both amazing. But Zach, yours really takes the cake. So
I feel like this is the trust issues I have with the show itself. I feel like you guys are like making me believe it's not true, so that
and then maybe
when it happens, I'm gonna be like, "Oh, I was right."
You'll never know.
Exactly.
I will tell you,
Never
if
know.
that was the truth, if yours was dead on accurate and you guessed it, my reaction would have been so great that I would have been like, you looked it up. Because no sane person would ever just guess that.
Hey, it could happen, man. Secret societies exist.
I didn't say they did.
I didn't say they don't exist in the world of Naruto.
That's a great point.
I like the part where Lance said, "Leave us a review," because of the Leaf Village. That was really good.
That's right. I did that on purpose. Glad you picked up on that.
All right. So next week is going to be 53 through 59, starting season 3. I realize now that this has been broken up a little bit different. Like, I'm giving the episode numbers as they are without any seasonal breaks. They don't reset at the beginning of the next season. So I believe if you're watching on Netflix, maybe on Hulu as well, they'll reset the numbers. So whatever that is, but they're episodes 53 through 59. So thank you for tuning in. We will see you next time. Someone's gonna. Oh, Lance, say believe it.
Believe it.